This video will contain spoilers from the off, so remember, you've been warned. The Idol is one episode away from finishing. I know, I thought there were 6 episodes too, but who knows, maybe even the people behind the show felt like they wanted it to end. But anyway, with that came the release of the trailer for the season finale, and it looks like it's going to be just as messy as what the rest of the show has been. So with that, I thought I'd break down and explain the trailer and what we could possibly expect. So let's get into it. Here is why the Idol season finale looks underwhelming. So it looks as though the final episode is going to be about the tour that Joss has been working towards. Although, let's bear in mind, she hasn't actually put out any of the music that she's been working with Tedros on. So I do wonder how and why this tour is even going ahead. It looked as though the tour manager was concerned over it and mentioned how there could be some issues. I feel as though the main issue is the fact that there's been nothing to indicate that a tour was really going to be happening, or that there was going to be any material that was ready to be performed there, as none of the songs were anywhere near finished. That's one of my main issues with this show. I don't know how time moves within it. A lot happens between episodes between certain characters, but then with others, it doesn't. We saw the management and her label going to her house for the first time since Tedros took over the property, and they were baffled with the situation that was unfolding. This was something which was supported by the line, "What is this?" then being followed by, "This is weird, even by music business standards." This was due to the fact that the cult were all just sitting around and were presenting themselves there. I'm surprised that this is the first time that they're properly trying to sort the situation out, despite knowing what was going on this entire time. It just doesn't make sense to me. The following shot was of a conversation that was unfolding with Talia. "My girl is in a lot of trouble." This is a line of dialogue that I would have expected to have been spoken in episode 2 of the show, when Tedros was first being a bad influence on Joss and steering her away from the direction that the label wanted her to lean towards. So it seems a bit odd that it's only being referenced now in the season finale, 5 episodes in. Okay. One thing that I would say does look a little bit interesting is the fact that Tedros doesn't look as sharp as he usually does, and like he's not as well presented as usual. So I do wonder what's gone on there. Judging by the open bottle, it looks as though he's been drinking. Maybe he's not been able to get over what Joss did with Rob, but I feel like more time would have probably passed when compared to that moment. Again, tying back into the issue of not really knowing how time moves within this show. It seems as though Joss has had a turning point though and grown some confidence around Tedros. She seemed to be taking authority and standing her ground, even in the way that they were both presenting themselves. She was dressed up and he was in his slightly messy state. She uttered the line, "You wanted to find a way into my life. You wanted me to hear your artists, and I like them." So maybe she's cottoned on to what Tedros' master plan was. This could all be stemming from the phone call that Leia had when she reached out to Joss and said that there was something important that she felt like she needed to talk to her about. This was also said at the point where Tedros looked a bit of a mess and had been drinking, so it feels like the dynamic is probably going to change between the pair. Xander said a line after this where he asked the question, "You don't think people are capable of hiding who they truly are?" And I think maybe this could be about Joss. It would be too obvious if it was about Tedros, because we already know that he's hiding who he truly is. Or if it is about him, then the show will lean into the unsurprising nature that it's had throughout the entirety of the season. This was then followed by a shot of Joss looking like she was going crazy on the sofa, a close-up shot of Diane, Tedros pulling down his glasses, and Joss walking on stage in front of her fans. As the trailer drew to a close, it didn't give much away, which isn't a bad thing at all. But one thing that I would say is that the unrealistic escalation is definitely present. It looks like everything is going to have happened between episode 4 and 5, and now they're going to be finding a way to finish it in an extremely short fashion. At this point, as we're going into the finale, that feels as though it's just been pushed upon us. There's nothing really at stake. It's not been long enough of a show for us to care about the characters, to care about the tour and if it was going to be going ahead, or even really care about Joss, as we've only really seen Joss be vulnerable a handful of times, and that was in episode 2 when she broke down, which was arguably the highlight of the entire season, a small section of several hours, so it's not impressive in the slightest. This show's biggest issue is the fact that it's steered so far from what it originally was when we were first given episode 1. The story of an individual in the industry trying to navigate a space where she didn't really want to be due to having to push out music that she didn't really love, and the demanding nature of it, with her not feeling good enough. Plus also, whilst trying to get over the death of her mother, the person that she cared about most, and as we came to know, had an extremely conflicted, toxic relationship due to the abuse that she suffered at the hands of her. See, I hear that as a synopsis and I go, do you know what? That sounds quite interesting. But the show isn't really that. It's become the Tedros show, and something which hasn't leaned into any of the issues that we saw being mentioned in the past. For example, the hairbrush incident. There was a great scene around the table where we saw Joss open up about what happened many years ago, but it's not been mentioned since. Instead, it was just used as an extremely inappropriate scene. Likewise with the upsetting nature of her missing her mother in episode 2. Not been mentioned since. The vulnerability was a key aspect of one of the only things that was good in this show, and it doesn't look like this is something that's going to be present in the season finale. It actually wouldn't surprise me if the photo that Xander took of Rob, which was given a focus at the end of the most recent episode, doesn't get mentioned again, especially considering it looks like an episode got canned. I have no clue where this show is going to go, and I don't even think that it's because it's a good show that's got me thinking about different things. It's because we're not at the end of the show yet. It doesn't feel like we're about to embark onto a big season finale where the story is going to climax and be resolved. It feels like we're only just getting started with The Idol, which is a massive problem for it. Having this performance that we don't really care about or know if it's going to fail or not doesn't provide anything for the finale. Judging by the shot, it doesn't actually look like the final performance is going to be a success, as there doesn't seem to be many people there. Joss's career could be ruined, or it could thrive after the season finale. Whatever the outcome is, I just don't think I'd care. The show is most definitely beyond saving, and there's nothing that can be done to pull it back from the depths to which it has sunk. All it can do is try to soften the impact in the finale. It's going to have to pull something extremely large out of the bag in order to make it remotely enjoyable. The one positive is that judging by the trailer, if Joss and Tedros have a rift with one another, it means that there probably won't be any of those intimate scenes, which is something that I think we've all had enough of. Tedros seems like he's going to have some sort of demise. It looks as though Diane is going to be the star, and Joss, well, she's either going to fly or fall, and personally, I think it would actually be better if she fell, because then we'd get a taste of the vulnerability that was interesting to watch a couple of episodes ago, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So, there you have it, why The Idol season finale looks underwhelming. If you want to see more videos such as endings explained, theories and predictions, and character breakdowns, then click on the I button, or alternatively you can head over to my channel where you'll find them all. If you'd like to give me a show or movie that you'd like me to review, then head over to my Twitter, @BrainPilot_, and tweet me what show or movie you'd like me to review next. And finally, if you'd like to see what I rate the latest movies that don't quite make the cut to getting a dedicated video, then head over to my Letterboxd profile. It's where I rate the latest releases in real time. What have you thought of this show? Leave a comment down below, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you next time.